Hey, everybody, it's Darren here. And today we're kicking off a 5 episode little series about my new framework. And this framework is called the Movie Framework. Why? Well, if you know me, if you've been paying attention, if you've been listening, my trade is as a film producer. I've been doing film and TV and music since 2006 when I started in these industries. I really transitioned and went full into TV and film around 2008 or 9. And since then, that's all I've been doing. So I work as a film producer. That's where, in 2022, probably 80% of my revenue came from. Working to shift that into more like 50-50 between Craftsman Creative and other businesses and the film producing. But that's beside the point. The point is, I'm a film producer and my framework is called Movie, which I think is pretty cool. So today, in this first of the 5 episodes, I want to give you a overview of the very first step. So just as a quick zoom back out really quickly, what does Movie stand for? The Movie framework is how to build creative businesses. This is the framework I use when I work with clients and customers, when I do events, when I do coaching, when I do all of those things around Craftsman Creative. This is what I look at. And I've kind of put it into a framework so I can teach it more clearly to people like yourselves who want to learn how to grow creative businesses. So what does it stand for? The M stands for mindset. We always start with mindset, and I'll talk about why in just a minute. The O stands for outcomes, and we're looking at the outcomes both for you and for your ideal customer. V is for visibility. How do you get awareness and attention and visibility for your business? Because if you don't have that, it's really hard to have a business that's growing. The I stands for implementing systems. And so that's where you dive in and you build your content system, your lead generation system, your email system, your sales and product ecosystems. That's that step, implementing systems. And then E, once you have everything else built out, you've got the mindset, the outcomes, the visibility, and the systems, then you can expand your impact. That's where you can grow beyond the initial niche that you focused on. That's where you can reach more people, have more impact, make more money, grow your team, grow your business, grow your impact. So expanding your impact is the E. So again, mindset, outcomes, visibility, implementing systems, and expand your impact. That's the Movie framework. So again, over the next 5 episodes, I'm going to walk through each one of these. And today we're starting with M, which stands for, it stands for mindset. So why? We start with mindset because success is 80% mindset. It's only 20% strategy and skills. So the common thinking is that if you find the right strategy, or if you increase your output or do more art, or if you improve your skills or focus on getting more credentials, that the doors will magically open. The if you build it, they will come mentality, right? But here's the thing. There are countless examples of people who started much, much later than you in your same industry, in your same market, but they grew much faster than you. They're much more successful than you. And all of that is despite your skills and effort and everything that you've tried. So what gives? My wife, I'm going to steal an example from her because it's a perfect example. Hopefully she'll forgive me. But she's been a photographer for over 20 years and is really, really, really good. To tell you how good she is, there are 2 photographers in Utah that work with this one company. Out of all the photographers in Utah, which is like engagement and wedding mecca for many, many people in the Mormon faith or the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, there are countless number of people getting married every week, year-round. And yet, for a long time, she struggled and was really upset with how many newer photographers were coming out as soon as like the digital photography craze really took off in like the 90s and 2000s and 2010s. And it became where you could get a camera and a lens set up for $500 or $1,000 and call yourself a photographer. There were a lot of people who were doing that. And it was really frustrating for her because she was looking at an industry that she'd spent 15, 20 years honing her craft and building her skills and building her business, and people were coming in and stealing all the work. And the mindset that she had at that time was a very limiting one. And so her business shrank, whereas other people's businesses grew. And so what gives? What's the deal here? The answer is that those people had a different mindset. So we're going to talk about how can you do that yourself. If you feel like you're stuck and you are trying to grow and you're doing all the work and you're working really hard, what gives? How do we figure this out? All right, let's do that. Your mindset is a combination or the culmination of all of your beliefs, your values, your desires, your needs, and your approach to the work that you do. So if you believe that the industry that you're in is just a hard industry, that's part of your mindset. If you feel like the economy is making it hard to have a successful business, that's part of your mindset. And so all of those things together, you can look at those beliefs and values and desires and needs and really take a really deep look and ask yourself, is this a limiting mindset or is it a empowering mindset? So if you're looking to make the shift from a limiting mindset to an empowering one, let's start with just two things. Two things that you need right off the bat are faith and resilience. So what are these two? What do they mean? Faith means that you believe that an action will lead to a result. So faith is belief plus action. This is the start of what I call the creator flywheel. And it starts where your mindset dictates your actions, which determine your results. And those results expand your potential. And when the potential is expanded, that increases and improves your mindset, and the cycle repeats. Mindset, actions, results, potential. Okay, so you can write that in a circle and draw arrows between them all. And you want to go in that order, because when you don't, a limiting mindset is the reverse of that. It's where your mindset is one where you believe that there is no potential and that the results are external to your actions, so you don't take any action, which impacts your mindset even further. So if you think of this as going the right way is going clockwise from mindset to actions to results to potential. If you go counterclockwise, that may be what you are experiencing right now if you're stuck. You've got a limiting mindset that leads to a very small potential, and you are externalizing the results and saying that they are out of your control. And so since they're out of your control, you take no action or very little action, and that counterclockwise is why you're stuck, or even going in reverse. So what we always want to do is think about how can we get that flywheel moving in a clockwise rotation, okay? So you do that with these two things. You start with faith, which leads to action, okay? And that action leads to results, and those results increase your potential, and you see that, and it shifts your mindset, and it keeps going and going and going. It's a virtuous circle. So let's look at the second one. The second piece you need after faith is resilience. Now, resilience is where you have this belief that you will approach your creative work with patience, with resourcefulness, with discipline, with hard work, that you're not going to give up after 3 or 6 or 9 months. You're not going to get discouraged if it doesn't work after 5 or 10 or 20 issues of your newsletter, or episodes of your YouTube channel, or episodes of your podcast, or 10 clients, right? You're going to keep going. You're going to continue every single day to do more of what works and less of what doesn't. That's kind of an encapsulation of what resilience means. You're going to show up every day. You're going to be consistent. You're going to do more of what works and less of what doesn't. So those two together are a really great start and a foundation to building your mindset, but also kickstarting this creator flywheel, which a flywheel is great because it starts and it's, inert. It's not moving at all. So it takes a lot of effort to get started. But with each rotation of that flywheel, it picks up momentum to where it reaches a point where it just is almost going on its own. It takes very little effort to continue that flywheel growing. And the more cycles, the more rotations, the more times around, the better your actions get, the better your results, the bigger your potential and your mindset grows, okay? So let me share my story about this. It took me 12 years to produce my first feature film. 12 years. I attribute a lot of my success to the fact that I didn't give up for 12 years. Okay, that's the resilience piece, and really the faith piece too. My belief was if I kept working hard, that it would work. So for 10 or so years, 10 or 12 years, really, I was working hard. I was trying different strategies. I was trying to increase my skills. I was reading all the books. I was attending the conferences and the seminars and the events, and I was doing all the things, but it never happened. So it wasn't until I shifted my mindset to focus on an outcome of producing a movie and making daily progress, doing more of what worked and less of what doesn't, that it finally worked out. I shifted my mindset. Okay. And within 4 years, I had produced 4 seasons of television as a senior producer, 2 documentary projects, a TV pilot that I was hired to produce, and 3 independent feature films, one of them internationally last year. That's all within the last 4 years. So when you shift your mindset, that's when everything changes. I tried for years and years and years and years with no results. And honestly, I had a limiting mindset. I was approaching things the wrong way, so my strategy was ill-informed, and so I never got the results I wanted. It wasn't until I shifted my mindset that everything changed. So what should you do, right? Because you don't want to just take in information, you need to implement things. That's where the rubber hits the road. That's where your business starts to grow. So what do you do? If you have been working your butt off for years and years and you feel like you're stuck, or if you are stuck, you are unable to grow and progress, you don't need a better system. You need a better mindset. So you have to start by shifting one belief that by doing more of what works and less of what doesn't, that's where you'll find success. You're going to shift by saying, I'm going to have more faith. I'm going to increase my resilience. You start with those things. And then it's about taking action, but not just any action or the same action. It needs to be a different and bigger action. So you need to commit to it. You need to do it consistently for as long as it takes. Okay, this is faith plus resilience. It's not just about trying it once and, oh, that didn't work for me. It's about starting a new daily or weekly habit. It's about building a system around it so you can ensure that you show up consistently. So that might mean that you're going to show up first thing in the morning and you're going to write for 20 minutes, or that every Friday you're going to take an hour or two and you're going to produce another episode of your YouTube channel or your newsletter or your podcast. And you're going to do it every single week, no matter what the results are. Because right now it's not about the results, it's about shifting your mindset. So you have to build a habit. And the last thing I would recommend is to turn off negative reinforcers. So for example, this is something I see a lot. If you follow a lot of people who talk about their wins all the time and where they're traveling to and beautiful pictures of their family and their new car and their new computer and their new camera and their biggest gig that they've just did, you got to turn those off, okay? If they are a source of discouragement rather than inspiration, turn them off. So unfollow them, or in my recommendation is just turn off the social media channels and go on a social media break for a month to 3 months and give yourself a nice reset where you're going to say, I'm going to start over. I'm going to have a new mindset. And that includes not having negative reinforcers showing up on my feed every day. And then you can use that time to take more action that gets the results that you want, to build that new habit and to show up consistently. Okay. So you might be hearing all this and going, well, okay, I've never done this. I don't know what to do. I'm freaking out a little bit here. Well, first thing you need to know is that it's not a one and done event, okay? It's not even a pass or fail type thing. If you're showing up consistently, that's success. There's no like mountain to summit here. It's not a one and done event. It's a new practice, a new approach to creative work, a way to align your business with your needs as a creator so that you can do this for a long time. So it takes work, it takes patience, it's going to take a while, and that's okay. So don't stress if you haven't done it before. The sooner you get started, the sooner you'll reach the point where that flywheel is really taking effect. So yes, it takes time. I've been doing this for years, and it still feels like I have a long way to go when it comes to mindset. It's a process, but I guarantee you, if you give it 6 to 12 months of very consistent effort, you show up every day and you're working on your mindset and you're taking action, you have faith and resilience, then if you give it 6 to 12 months, you're going to see a massive difference in your mindset. That's just how it works. So you can do this, okay? Everyone can do this. I know that you've probably read all the books, you've taken all the courses, you've gone to the conferences, and you've done all the things to try to get unstuck. The reason they haven't worked is because those are all strategies. They're not mindset, okay? You may not want to try something else. You may be burnout. You may be jaded. I'm going to ask you one more time to give it a try, okay? You likely haven't done this. You likely haven't shifted your mindset. So if you keep the same mindset but try different strategies, it just doesn't work. Again, because strategies are only 20% of the equation. Mindset is the other 80%. So we have to shift your mindset from a limiting one to an empowering one. We need faith and we need resilience. You have to shift from impatience to patience. You need to stop thinking about the lack of resources to being resourceful. Go from fear to faith, inaction to action, okay? So if you want to get started in your mindset as a creator, check out the link in the show notes. Depending on when you're listening to this, either there's an upcoming workshop where I'm doing about this, or I'll just put the replay to this one. I usually make those private in my community, but for this one, I'll put a link to the replay in the show notes. So grab the link, either come to the workshop or watch the replay. It's probably a 60 to 90 minute deep dive on mindset. So if that's the thing that you're like, man, yeah, I believe this stuff, I think I need to give mindset a try, this will help you take the next step to grab a really great in-depth workshop on mindset and building your bespoke creative business, how to build a business that supports your mindset, that gets your needs met and helps you do this work for a long, long, long time. All right, so either next week or the next episode is about the next step in the movie framework, which is outcomes. We're going to talk about outcomes for you, outcomes for your audience, and how to get more of both. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.